I was shopping with my brother and sister-in-law and got a phone call that said that I had infiltrating lobular carcinoma. And I remember actually just looking at the telephone and going, you know, you dialed the wrong number. You have the wrong person. I guess I was in denial. I hadn't even thought that I had cancer. I had a lumpectomy, and then I had brachytherapy, which was the equivalent of 30 rounds of radiation in 5 days. Me being a widow, I was by myself. So during my first diagnosis, I lived alone. My second diagnosis came 7 years, almost to the date. They were August to August. And I had remarried only 3 years prior to my diagnosis. So again, I went in for my regular, ladies go every year. No excuses, no fail. To get my mammogram, and they did the ultrasound, and then was told this time that not only did I have one tumor in the breast, I had 2 in the lymph nodes. So it was traveling. I knew this one would be even worse because they told me that I would have to have a mastectomy and that I would have to have chemotherapy and then radiation. I was totally, sincerely traumatized. More because God had blessed me with a husband. And I just didn't think it was fair to him. It was not fair to him. And I asked my husband, I said, honey, what do you want to do? What do you want me to do? And he just, without hesitation, looked at me and said, live. When somebody tells you to live, then you're going to put on your armor and you're going to fight.
I was diagnosed in June of this year. Have been at the Cancer Institute since September of last year. And I just knew, I felt a lump and just knew that it was not good. And went and had the test run, had the mammogram, ultrasound, biopsy, stage 2 infiltrating ductal carcinoma. And everything inside you just goes cold. And then it was just like, I hear this voice telling me, okay, it's time to dig in your heels and go to battle. So that's what I do. I don't know what's coming in the future. Don't know, you know, everything hasn't been roses, of course. I have my moments when I cry, but this is my life now, and I just get up and do what I have to do. When I got my diagnosis, you know, it's hard to say now what went through my head. Everything and probably nothing went through my head. When you first hear that word, it is very scary and you just don't know. And one of the things that I've heard people say a lot is don't listen to what other people say, because every cancer is different, because every person's different. And so sometimes that's kind of hard to do, and I'm one of those people that I like to Google things and find out what it means, and but you really just can't do that. You just kind of have to, I think, have faith.
So I was diagnosed in December of 2013 after returning from a great trip out of state. I was happy. I felt healthy. I went to my regularly scheduled mammogram. I've never been called back on a mammogram in all these years, and got a call back that they wanted to do, take another look. So I had a second mammogram, which was followed by an ultrasound, followed by a biopsy, and everything moved very quickly after that. Received the phone call that indeed they found invasive ductal carcinoma. Turned out to be stage 2. I received that call at work. I just happened to be in the chaplain's office at the time. Very prophetic to be there and be surrounded by love and someone who immediately started praying for me. Then of course I had to tell my family. We've dealt with it very well, I think. We've just accepted it as the next phase of life that we're all going to go through together. And my daughter happened to be an oncology nurse, so that was super handy to have your own oncology nurse. We just took it one day at a time, just like we do now. We're only promised today, so we just take it one day at a time and try to live life to its fullest and not let it be the end-all for us. There's much more to life than a cancer diagnosis, and there's certainly more to me than cancer.
My faith is really, and my friends and my family was really my source of strength. And I have a little prayer, and it's called A Prayer for Inner Strength. And it says, "Dear God, please give me the strength to endure this situation and to find the blessings and lessons that it contains. Please give me the endurance to continue ahead. Please guide my thoughts, words, and actions so that I walk your path of peace and love."
Faith has played the most vital part in this whole thing. Because I have faith, I know that I have a hope. And hope is looking forward to something that you can be assured of. Right away from the beginning, I knew whether cancer took me from this earth, that my hope was in my salvation through Jesus Christ, and that I have a home in eternity.
My inspiration, my husband, he just inspires me every day. He is just always so strong, and he's just there for me, And my inspiration is a phoenix. So my story behind that, the phoenix, you know, it burns up and then it is reborn and rises from the ashes. And when I think about the chemotherapy, that's what it's doing. It's just burning everything up in there. And so it's going to burn the cancer up, and I'm going to rise up out of that and be better and stronger than before. So that is my motto, rise up from the ashes. I have a phoenix, I wear phoenix shirts to every chemotherapy session. And I have a phoenix scarf that I keep with me that I wrap up in. And so, yeah, that lifts me up. That makes me smile, keeps my spirits high. My favorite Integris moment was my very first chemotherapy. So my first session, I went upstairs and they took me back to the room that I was going to have my chemotherapy in, my infusion room, and opened the curtain, and it was just decorated to the hilt. Huge balloons, all different colors, and streamers and stars, and all these little frogs hanging all over the wall, because the frogs remind me to fully rely on God. And so one of my dear friends knew that, and so she had got these little frogs, and they were just taped all over the walls, and it just was so nice to know I'm not in this alone.
My favorite Integris moment would be the art show that cancer survivors, all forms of cancer, have the opportunity to participate in once a year. Because you get to see what creativity exists in people and what's on their minds by what their art shows. And it shows exactly what I was saying before. It shows there's so much more to cancer survivors, myself included, than just a cancer diagnosis. That may take up our time and our energy for right now, but there's so much more. And seeing the bright colors and the butterflies and the whatever someone is seeing as representing themselves in art.
The people that attended to me were just awesome. My nurse was beyond compare. She was just awesome. And then since I'm a teacher, they tried to work me in the morning, and scheduling got kind of tight sometimes. And my doctor would come down to where I was and meet me. She met me at what my needs were. And that to me was exceedingly impressive.
I would say to someone newly diagnosed that they are not alone, because you certainly feel alone in the very beginning, especially if you're someone in your family who has not experienced cancer before. You don't feel like other people understand your feelings, your physical pain, what your thought process is. So I let people know immediately that they're not alone. There is a community out there for you, especially this community of breast cancer survivors.
Reach out. Reach out. Find your friends, find your family. There are so many wonderful organizations to help you. It is absolutely overwhelming because there's so many steps in this process as to what to do and where to go.
My advice to other people that would be going through this journey is just to be silly. Be silly, have fun with it. Again, like I said, I wear my Phoenix t-shirts to my treatment. I have these big sunglasses that are stars, and I wear those. I blow bubbles. I just have a good time. It's a part of your life. It's going to be a part of your life for the rest of your life. So have fun with it and make the most of it.